Hi folks, Matt Easton here, Scholar Gladiatoria. So there are many armchair experts who say things about swords and swordsmanship and just combat in general. These people have lots of sayings, and I have to say some of these people actually are people who should know better. I've heard the expression that I'm just going to use in a second. I've heard it from the lips of reenactors, for example, who should really know better. But this particular term has been really popularised thanks to the popular HBO TV show Game of Thrones. The phrase is essentially put the pointy end in the other person. Okay, stick the pointy end in the other guy, and this is what all swordsmanship boils down to. And you always see people having discussions about swordsmanship, and they go, "Oh, you know, well, a certain type of sword is better for this sort of technique, and if someone's fighting a certain way, then you should do a certain thing. But ultimately, you just stick the pointy end in the other person." Well, this is an incredibly fucking stupid phrase, okay? Because very clearly, not all swords are designed to thrust to start off with, or not designed to thrust very well. If we take certain types of cleaver, for example, if you look at the Makijalski Bible, the falchion type things, cleavers in there, some of them don't even really have points on them. So not everything is designed to stick the pointy end in the other person. Very clearly, different types of swords have different advantages to cutting or thrusting. So purely on that basis alone, the expression is ridiculous, because some swords you don't want to put the pointy end in, you want to put the sharp edge in, or the pommel in, or the crossguard in. It's sort of suggesting that only the pointy end is the useful bit, which is a complete bollocks. But that aside, the other problem with it, of course, is no, that's not all swordsmanship is. If you have a sword and the other person has a sword, and you just stick your point into them, it's very likely that they will stick their point into you as well. So what's been achieved? You're both either very badly wounded or dead. Okay, and yes, some people will, and sport fencers, I have to say, those of you out there who really hate my my sport fencing related videos, and they sort of go, "Oh well, you know, there's evidence to show that someone who was stabbed dropped down dead instantly, and someone else who was stabbed instantly stopped what they were doing." Yes, this occasionally happens. Sometimes someone is shot or stabbed, and that's it. That's just the end of it. They immediately drop down. However, very often, and there's just colossal numbers of examples from history and modern crime and modern warfare to illustrate this. And if you look at the book that I wrote the introduction to, Swordsmen of the British Empire, it has literally dozens of examples of people who were wounded by an opponent's weapon and then either killed the opponent or wounded them straight back. Dueling accounts, if you look at 18th century duels with small swords, or 17th century and 16th century duels with rapiers and side swords and back swords, again there's countless examples of people who were wounded multiple times, and many examples of people who killed each other. So just stick the pointy end in the other person is just a ridiculous piece of advice. That is not what you should be focusing on. What you should be focusing on is not letting them stick their pointy end or sharp edge into you. That is always the priority. If your priority is only to wound the opponent, you will almost certainly get badly wounded or injured or killed yourself. Let's just think about this in mechanical terms for a second. If I am only thinking about going dum and hit, as in modern sport fencing and épée, where you only have to hit 1/25th of a second or thereabouts before they hit you, and yay, I've won because I stabbed them 1/25th of a second before they stabbed me. That's not useful at all in a real fight. If you stab someone, you want to do it in such a way that they cannot stab you back. Okay, that could be because they've thrust at you, you've avoided it, dodged it, and thrust them in the same tempo. Okay, so you could simply be attacking into their attack in such a way that it defends you. Or they might thrust at you, you might redirect their point and thrust them back in the same motion. So you've you've physically pushed their blade away from you and you wounded them back. Or it might be a simple case of they cut at you, you parry, you riposte. So you're using tempo essentially to do it. So it could be mechanically binding and opposing their blade, it could be dodging their blade, or it could be using tempo, parry, riposte. Those are just 3 ways. There are many other ways that could happen. For example, guard, grab their blade, disengage your blade and then stab them multiple times. There's all sorts of other, you could grapple them. There's all sorts of ways that you could wound them in a way that makes it very difficult for them to wound you back. And ultimately, this is what swordsmanship is. It is not just about sticking the pointy end in the other person. It's about making sure that they don't stick their sharp blade in you. Cheers, folks! Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, follow us on Facebook. You can buy t-shirts through Spreadshirt, support us on Patreon, or follow us on Pinterest. Thank you.